What if the weight you've been carrying isn't yours to hold anymore? Maybe it's not the job, the relationship, or the never-ending obligations that are breaking you, but the belief that walking away would make you a failure. In a world that glorifies endurance and labels silence as strength, we rarely ask. The harder question, what if letting go, is the boldest act of self-respect there is. Imagine how your life might shift if you stopped pouring energy into things that only take and never give. What if every time you said no to what drains you, you were actually saying yes to peace, purpose, and the version of you that's been waiting beneath the noise? The Stoics believed in choosing clarity over chaos, not by force, but by returning home to what truly matters. So today, we begin a quiet revolution. One where you stop apologizing for choosing your well-being, where you walk not away from others, but back toward yourself. Because in the end, it's not weakness to leave, it's wisdom. And that wisdom begins with a single decision to no longer stay where your soul is shrinking. Are you constantly finding yourself exhausted, as though your energy and happiness are slipping away no matter how hard you try to hold on? Do you ever feel powerless, stuck in situations that seem endless and draining? If so, you're far from alone. We all face moments like that, times when walking away feels impossible, maybe even wrong. But here's the question worth asking. What if walking away isn't a sign of weakness at all, but the most courageous thing you can do? In this video, we'll explore that idea through the lens of ancient Stoic wisdom. Stoicism is a timeless philosophy built on the foundation of emotional resilience, virtue, and self-mastery. And today we'll uncover 13 powerful lessons from this philosophy to help you understand why letting go can in fact be the most powerful action you ever take. Whether you're stuck in a toxic relationship, trapped in an exhausting job, or weighed down by the endless negativity of your surroundings, this journey is for you. It's time to stop giving your energy to what drains you and start reclaiming your sense of peace, clarity, and purpose. You deserve more than just survival. You deserve to thrive. So, if you're ready to step into a life that feels lighter, stronger, and more aligned with who you truly are, hit that subscribe button and join me on this path. Together, let's discover how to walk away, not in defeat, but with strength. Let's begin with lesson number 1. Not everything deserves your energy. Imagine yourself in the center of a vast, bustling marketplace. Around you are countless colorful stalls, each one calling out, tempting you with something new. Every stall represents a different area of your life. Your relationships, your career, your hobbies, even your daily conversations. In your hands you hold a basket. It represents your time, your energy, your emotional space. It's more limited than you think. As you walk through this marketplace, you'll feel pulled in every direction. Some stalls shine with promise. Others drain you with noise and clutter. Seneca's timeless reminder rings in your ears. It's not that we have too little time, but that we waste so much of it. Each time you linger at a stall, each time you give your energy to a situation, a person, or a commitment, you give up space in your basket. And here's the hard truth. Not every stall deserves that space. Some offer nothing but gossip, conflict, or emotional dead weight. Hoping those stalls will change is like watering a weed and expecting it to bloom into a rose. But not all stalls are like that. Some radiate warmth. They hold uplifting friendships, meaningful work, creative passions, and inspiring conversations. They give back more than they take. These are the stalls worth your attention. These are the places where your energy can grow into something lasting and beautiful. The secret to navigating this marketplace lies in discernment. Ask yourself with every interaction, does this stall support my growth, or does it silently drain me? Is this relationship aligned with my values? Does this conversation nourish me, or leave me more tired than before? Is this opportunity helping me move forward, or just distracting me from what truly matters? Your energy is finite, and every choice you make is a seed planted in the garden of your life. You cannot tend to everything, but you can choose what grows. Walking away from the wrong stalls isn't harsh, it's necessary. It's the loving, conscious act of protecting your well-being. And when you begin doing that, when you redirect your attention toward what uplifts and energizes you, your life starts to change in quiet but powerful ways. Let's explore how that shift can begin step by step as we move into the next lesson. As we continue moving through the marketplace of life, the first lesson reminds us that walking away doesn't need to be loud or final. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as turning your attention elsewhere, gently refusing what no longer serves you, or quietly stepping back from what drains your spirit. Each deliberate choice you make, no matter how small, becomes a building block toward a more vibrant, peaceful, and fulfilling life. Now we move forward with lesson number 2, setting boundaries isn't selfish. Picture life as a dance floor, wide and open, filled with countless dancers moving to the rhythm of their own lives. Every interaction is like a step in a shared routine, some light and graceful, others rushed or overwhelming. To dance well, to feel safe and free in that space, boundaries are essential. Without them, the rhythm falters and the harmony fades. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus spoke often about the importance of living in harmony with our true nature. This means aligning your life with your core values, protecting your peace, and staying centered amid the movement of others. Boundaries aren't walls that isolate you. They are lines that define where your energy flows best, where you feel most free to be yourself. Yet many people still believe that setting boundaries is selfish, as if choosing yourself somehow harms others. This couldn't be further from the truth. Real self-love means understanding that your emotional energy, your time, and your well-being are sacred resources. If you don't protect them, no one else will. When you care for yourself in this way, you actually create space for more meaningful, respectful relationships. Think again of the dance. When two people move in sync while respecting each other's space, they create something beautiful. Each dancer is free to move, express, and connect. But when one repeatedly steps into the other's space without care, the dance becomes awkward, uncomfortable, even painful. Over time, the connection breaks. So what happens when someone continues to ignore your boundaries? Walking away is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of empowerment. It says, I see my value. I choose not to shrink myself for someone who will not honor it. This doesn't require anger or drama. Sometimes it's as gentle as a firm no or a quiet decision to step back. But the message is clear. You deserve better, and you are willing to protect that truth. Boundaries are the invisible architecture of every healthy relationship. When upheld with kindness and consistency, they create space for trust, safety, and genuine understanding. The people who truly care about you will not test your limits, they will honor them. And those are the connections that last, built on mutual respect rather than silent resentment. Establishing boundaries is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing act of self-awareness and courage. As your life evolves, so too will your limits. Be patient with yourself as you learn to express them. Be compassionate but firm. Say no when needed without guilt. And when your boundaries are not respected, walk away with grace, knowing you are creating space for something healthier to grow. Because on the dance floor of life, you deserve to move with joy, with freedom, and with people who celebrate your presence rather than overstep it. As we prepare for the next step, let's explore another deeply misunderstood idea: closure. It doesn't always come from others. Sometimes the key to peace lies not in what's said to you, but in what you decide for yourself. As we've just explored, learning to set boundaries is a powerful form of self-respect. But there's another internal shift that often determines whether we move forward in peace or remain stuck in place. That is the lesson of closure. And here's the truth. Many overlook closure doesn't always come from the outside. More often than not, true healing begins not with someone else's apology, but with your own inner decision to let go. It's tempting to believe that if we could just get the perfect explanation or hear the right words, the pain would finally ease. We wait for clarity, for justice, for someone to make things right. But what if waiting is what's keeping us from healing? Lesson number 3 teaches us that closure is something we create, not something we receive. Imagine closure as a secret map. Most of us search for it outside of ourselves, in other people's words or actions, hoping they'll lead us to peace. But the real treasure lies elsewhere. It's buried deep within, accessible only through introspection, self-compassion, and personal courage. The longer we wait for someone else to hand us the map, the longer we delay our journey. Instead of chasing answers that may never come, consider this what if walking away was your first step toward freedom. Choosing to let go, to redirect your energy inward, can become a powerful act of self-discovery. When you begin to treat yourself with the same patience, kindness, and understanding you would offer a loved one, healing begins to take root. Acknowledge what you feel, validate your pain, and most importantly, release yourself from guilt, blame, or the endless loop of what if. Self-compassion is the fertile ground where growth takes place. It doesn't require permission. It simply asks for your presence. Forgiveness, too, is often misunderstood. It isn't about excusing hurtful behavior or pretending the past didn't happen. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself. It means loosening the grip of resentment so it doesn't control your present or cloud your future. And sometimes the most powerful form of forgiveness is the one you offer yourself. You don't have to forget what happened, but you do have the power to choose what happens next. Ask yourself, instead of dwelling on why something happened, what can I do now? What lesson have I learned? How will this experience shape the person I'm becoming? In shifting your focus to growth, you begin to reclaim authorship over your story. You stop being defined by what hurt you and start being empowered by how you rose from it. Remember, closure isn't a finish line you reach when someone else changes. It's a quiet understanding you arrive at when you choose peace over pain. The journey might be slow, it might be messy, but it's yours, and that makes it sacred. So be patient with yourself, extend grace, and when you're ready, close the chapter, not because someone else gave you permission, but because you decided to turn the page. And when you do, you'll find that the path ahead is full of new possibilities. Because just beyond that inner healing lies another great truth, one that begins when you dare to step beyond what's familiar. Lesson number 4 invites you to go where growth often lives outside your comfort zone. Let's walk there together. As we discovered in the last lesson, the courage to step outside your comfort zone is often the first spark of transformation. Growth doesn't bloom in stillness, but in motion. In the awkward first steps, the uneasy beginnings, and the bold decision to explore what lies beyond the familiar, that discomfort. It's not a warning sign, it's proof that you're evolving. Lesson number 4 teaches us that leaving the comfort zone is where real change begins. Every time we stretch beyond what we know, we meet parts of ourselves that were waiting to be found. We strengthen our resilience, challenge our assumptions, and gain fresh perspective, not only on the world around us, but on the narratives we've been telling ourselves. Sometimes we realize we've outgrown the old stories. Sometimes we're ready to write entirely new ones. The unknown might feel intimidating at first, but it's also full of quiet invitations to question what we believe, to shed outdated fears, to redefine who we are and what we're truly capable of. Growth rarely comes without discomfort. It asks us to trade short-term certainty for long-term transformation. But the rewards are real, and they are lasting. Start small. Say yes to something that challenges you. Take one step past your usual patterns. Whether it's initiating a tough conversation, trying a new skill, or walking away from an old habit, every step matters. Celebrate those moments. They are signs that you are expanding and that your life is stretching into new dimensions. Don't rush. Don't focus only on the destination. Growth is not a race. It's a journey, one that unfolds in layers with setbacks, surprises, and milestones you never expected. The more you learn to embrace the process, the more you'll realize how brave, strong, and capable you truly are. The most incredible discoveries, meaningful relationships, and unexpected adventures often wait just beyond the edge of what's familiar. So take that first step. Open the door. Step into discomfort and into the remarkable version of yourself waiting on the other side. Which brings us to a powerful truth that often goes unspoken. Lesson number 5. You can't change others. Imagine your life as a beautiful, evolving garden. Every plant represents someone in your world, a friend, a family member, a partner, even a colleague. Some grow tall and strong. Others remain stunted, tangled, or overgrown, crowding the space you've so carefully tended. It's natural to want to help, to water their roots, to pull weeds for them, to fix what looks broken. But here's what Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches us. True wisdom lies in recognizing what is within our control and what is not. And no matter how much we care, how deeply we hope, we cannot make others grow. This distinction is everything. We can support, inspire, and guide. But when we try to control others, we step outside our own garden and begin neglecting our own growth. We start pouring energy into what we can't shape, and in doing so, we lose clarity, peace, and even ourselves. So what do we do instead? We redirect our focus inward. We turn back to our circle of control, our thoughts, our actions, our reactions. This is where real power lives. This is where we can intentionally cultivate patience, resilience, wisdom, and self-respect. It's not giving up on others. It's giving ourselves back to what we can actually change. Walking away from the belief that we can fix someone isn't cold. It's liberating. It honors their journey and reclaims yours. It means recognizing that they too must grow in their own time, in their own way, just as we do. Instead of trying to pull someone toward transformation, lead by example. Live your truth. Practice healthy boundaries that protect your energy. Communicate with clarity and kindness. Be the kind of presence that plants seeds of change, not through pressure, but through authenticity. Remember, your garden flourishes when you tend to it with care. Let others tend to theirs in their own time. Focus on what you're building, nurturing, becoming. Because sometimes the most beautiful transformation begins not with changing someone else, but by choosing to change where you pour your light. And as we continue forward, this shift in focus leads to something even deeper, the quiet power of protecting your peace, not just by walking away from people, but by knowing when to walk away from patterns that no longer serve you. Every seed of effort you plant in your own life, every decision to protect your peace, nurture your values, and honor your authenticity becomes the fertile ground where transformation grows. The more you tend to your own well-being, the more you blossom. And as you do, your growth becomes a quiet inspiration to others, not through force, but through example. This brings us to lesson number 6, trust your intuition. Imagine life as a crowded, noisy marketplace. Everywhere you turn, something calls for your attention, an offer, a request, a demand, an opportunity. It's loud, it's tempting, and it can quickly become overwhelming. In a world filled with countless voices pulling you in all directions, your intuition is your compass. And sometimes the most powerful way to protect it is through a simple, confident word, no. Saying no isn't about being rude or dismissive. It's about reclaiming space in your life. It's how you draw the line that keeps your energy sacred and your focus aligned. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, said it best. Don't waste time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. And sometimes being a good person starts with being good to yourself. We're often taught to justify our no, to explain, to soften the message. But in doing so, we sometimes silence the voice that matters most, our own. That quiet whisper within you, the one rooted in lived experience, personal values, and honest reflection, is your intuition. It's not loud, but it's wise. It won't always shout, but it will guide you if you choose to listen. When your inner voice tells you something is off or something doesn't align, don't ignore it. You don't owe anyone a detailed excuse for preserving your peace. A simple no offered with kindness and clarity is enough. That one word can be a powerful act of self-respect. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about creating the right environment for you to grow. And that environment only exists when you say no to what drains you so you can say yes to what fulfills you. Every time you listen to your intuition, you're choosing to protect your time, your energy, your purpose. You're choosing alignment over approval. The effects of that choice run deep. You start to feel empowered. You gain back control over your life. You attract people who respect your space and understand your worth. And you begin to create room for rest, for meaning, for genuine connection. Saying no then isn't selfish. It's essential. It's the gate you close so your soul can breathe. And more importantly, every no you speak with conviction becomes a doorway to the yeses that truly matter, the ones that align with who you are and who you're becoming. So, as you move through the endless invitations of life, learn to pause. Listen inward. Trust your inner compass. And when something doesn't feel right, remember sometimes the strongest answer is the simplest. A clear, confident no. Which leads us to lesson number 7, where we examine one of the most misunderstood forms of strength, the power of walking away not as a defeat, but as a wise, strategic step towards something better. In the last lesson, we learned that walking away is not a sign of defeat. It is often the wisest, most strategic move you can make. And when done with intention, it becomes a gateway to clarity, renewal, and unexpected growth. Lesson number 7 reminds us, walking away doesn't mean giving up. Sometimes it's the smartest way forward. Life can feel like a battlefield at times, filled with tension, pressure, and emotional weight. When we stay locked in a situation that drains us, we begin to lose perspective. We act from a place of reaction rather than wisdom. But stepping away, even briefly, creates the space we need to breathe, to reset, and to see the bigger picture with clear eyes. One of the first benefits of walking away is clarity. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's hard to think clearly. Emotions cloud your judgment. But distance offers you objectivity. You can finally see the situation for what it is, not what fear or anger tells you it is. From that place of calm, new solutions emerge. You begin to see alternative paths you couldn't recognize before. Walking away also conserves your energy. Emotional battles, especially those that lead nowhere, drain your mental and physical resources. Instead of throwing yourself into every conflict, choose when and where to invest your energy. Stepping back allows you to recharge, regain focus, and return stronger if and when you decide to re-engage. Another gift of walking away is expanded perspective. When we fixate on one outcome, we become blind to better possibilities. But once we remove ourselves from that narrow view, we gain access to creative solutions and opportunities that were previously hidden from sight. We're no longer boxed in, we begin to think expansively. Though the exact words may be lost, the essence of Seneca's teachings resonates deeply here. He often emphasized the importance of presence, living fully in the moment, instead of being trapped in the past or worried about the future. Walking away can break the loop of obsessive thinking. It shifts your attention back to the now, where real action and transformation are possible. Seneca also spoke of contentment. When we stop clinging to what drains us, we make room for what uplifts us. We begin to realize that what we already have is enough, and that peace doesn't come from control, but from alignment. To walk away, you need courage. It requires self-awareness, trust in your intuition, and often the humility to admit when something is no longer serving your growth. But in doing so, you're not abandoning your dreams. You're simply choosing a wiser, more effective path to get there. Sometimes the greatest victories are not won through confrontation, but through a calculated retreat. Wisdom is knowing when to fight and when to pause, recalibrate, and rise again with renewed strength. So don't be afraid to pivot. Don't fear the silence that comes with stepping back. That space might just be what you need to see the truth more clearly and to move forward with purpose. And from silence, we move into a lesson even more subtle and powerful, lesson number 8, let your actions speak. Imagine once again that noisy marketplace, voices, rising arguments swirling, everyone trying to be heard. In such chaos, words lose their meaning. But stillness becomes a statement. Sometimes silence is not weakness, it is a deliberate, powerful response. Actions, when rooted in intention, speak volumes. Sometimes walking away quietly and choosing to act in ways that align with your values can leave a far greater impact than 1,000 spoken words. You don't always need to explain yourself. You don't need to win every argument. You simply need to live in a way that reflects your truth. Lesson number 8 is about letting your actions speak. In a world that often demands instant responses and loud declarations, silence is a form of wisdom. When you're surrounded by noise, when people are quick to challenge you, provoke you, or misunderstand you, responding with silence doesn't mean surrender. It means self-respect. It means choosing peace over chaos. But let's be clear. There's a difference between strategic silence and disengagement. Walking away from unproductive conflict is not the same as withdrawing from life or avoiding meaningful conversations. The former is a conscious choice made with clarity, while the latter stems from fear or avoidance. Choosing to stay silent in a moment of tension or walking away from negativity doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're saving your energy for what truly matters. It means you've learned to recognize which battles are worth fighting and which ones simply distract you from your growth. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, reminds us that it's not what happens to us that defines us, but how we respond. In that spirit, silence becomes more than a pause. It becomes a message. When you choose not to react to disrespect, you're drawing a line. When you walk away instead of engaging in drama, you're choosing dignity. When you remain calm in the face of chaos, you're modeling strength. This silence isn't empty. It's powerful. It protects your peace. It grounds your emotions. It allows you to respond, not react. And when paired with intentional action, doing what aligns with your values, your goals, and your sense of self, it creates a presence that commands respect. So, when the world demands an answer, sometimes the most empowering response is quiet conviction. Let your silence speak boundaries. Let your actions affirm your integrity. And let your presence be your proof. As we leave this lesson, we shift towards something even more personal, the source of our sense of worth. Lesson number 9 is about seeking validation not from others, but from within. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as a flower opening gently to the light. You stretch toward the sun, hoping it will see you, nourish you, warm you. But what if the sun only shines on flowers that look different from you? That feeling of being unseen, of being unappreciated, is something many of us carry. Lesson 9 invites us to release that weight, to stop chasing external validation, and to begin cultivating self-worth from the inside out. We all long to be recognized, accepted, appreciated. It's part of being human. But when we rely too heavily on others to tell us we're enough, we place our worth on shaky ground. Social media, family, peers, these voices can lift us up or tear us down, often without warning. And when we let them define our value, we fall into a cycle of striving, approval-seeking, and inevitable disappointment. Seneca, ever wise, warned us not to live on borrowed opinions. When you depend on others for self-worth, your confidence becomes conditional. One negative comment, one moment of rejection, and suddenly you doubt yourself again. This makes you vulnerable to manipulation. It weakens your inner stability. So how do we break free? We start by stepping away from the noise, from the comparisons, from the people who dim our light. Not in anger, but in self-love. It's about creating space to remember who you are beneath all the judgment and expectation. It's about identifying the negative beliefs you've absorbed and asking, are these truly mine? Then it's about celebrating your uniqueness, your quirks, your passions, your voice. Everything that makes you different is what makes you whole. Practicing self-compassion becomes key, speaking to yourself with the same gentleness you'd offer someone you love. You protect your emotional energy by setting boundaries, by refusing to internalize every opinion or criticism. And you turn inward. Not to isolate, but to reconnect. You remind yourself of what you've already overcome, what you've already built, and who you've become along the way. Validation, real and lasting, begins there. Through simple but powerful practices like keeping a gratitude journal, reflecting on your progress, spending time in nature, or doing the things that light you up, you strengthen the foundation of your worth. You stop asking the world, "Am I enough?" and start saying to yourself, "I already am." And as you do, something shifts. You begin to attract people who recognize your value, not because you ask them to, but because you finally recognize it in yourself. Let's now turn to our next lesson, where we discover how to stay true to ourselves while navigating the pressures and expectations that surround us. The most meaningful relationships are the ones that see you fully and love you as you are, not for what you offer, not for what you hide, but for the authenticity you bring. As lesson number 9 reminded us, you are already enough. Your worth does not fluctuate with someone's opinion or approval. External validation may come and go, but the deep sense of peace and value you find within yourself, that's what lasts. When you begin to release yourself from the weight of outside opinions, something beautiful happens. You create room for self-discovery. You clear space for genuine connections with those who embrace the real you, not a version of you shaped to please others. Let your individuality shine. Let your voice be heard. You are unique, radiant, and deserving of love, especially from yourself. Which brings us to the next powerful insight, lesson number 10. Embrace fresh air. Picture your life as a thriving garden. It's rich with potential color growth, new beginnings. But even the most fertile soil can become overrun with weeds. Sometimes, in order for something beautiful to bloom, you must first clear space. You must pull out what no longer belongs. This is the lesson of letting go. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately." These words hold deep wisdom. When we cling too tightly to past pain grudges, toxic relationships, or limiting beliefs, we lose sight of what's right in front of us. We drain our energy holding on to burdens that serve no purpose but to hold us back. Think of those unresolved regrets or old resentments like heavy backpacks you've been carrying for too long. They don't just weigh you down, they block the sunlight. They stifle your ability to breathe in the fresh air of possibility. Letting go isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about loosening its grip so that your present and future are no longer defined by it. Just like clearing overgrown weeds in a garden, this process opens you up to light, clarity, and space. The benefits are not only emotional, but deeply transformational. Letting go reduces stress and anxiety. It lightens your emotional load and allows you to rest in your own peace. It restores your energy, offering clarity where confusion once clouded your vision. It also creates space for new experiences, new relationships, new perspectives, and new beginnings that could never take root in soil already claimed by the past. And most of all, it sparks personal growth. Letting go can be hard, especially when what you're releasing is tied to identity or deep emotional attachment. But it's also one of the bravest steps you can take, because on the other side of letting go is the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. Start small. Replace lingering negativity with positive affirmations. Imagine the future you want and visualize yourself stepping into it, one clear breath at a time. Practice mindfulness. Notice your emotions without judgment and allow them to pass. Seek support from people who truly care, whether that's a close friend or a trained professional. And celebrate each small release. Every step, every shift matters. Letting go is not a one-time event. It's a daily conscious choice to prioritize healing over holding on. And with each choice, you create a little more space, a little more light, a little more freedom. So breathe deeply. Open the windows of your soul. Let the fresh air in. And watch your life begin to bloom again, bright, bold, and full of possibility. And now, as we take this breath of renewal, we turn to something equally important. Lesson number 11. A reminder that in the process of becoming your best self, you must also protect what matters most. As we breathe in the fresh air of new beginnings, lesson number 10 reminds us of something just as vital, the importance of protecting your inner peace. In a world that pulls us in 1,000 directions, filled with noise, demands, and expectations, it's easy to forget that your peace is not a luxury. It's your foundation, and it deserves protection. Lesson number 11 invites you to honor your sanctuary. Imagine within you a peaceful inner sanctuary, a quiet haven untouched by chaos, where you feel safe, calm, and whole. This sacred space is where your spirit rests and your clarity lives. It's the source of your contentment, the quiet hum behind your sense of balance. But in the rush of daily life, this sanctuary is often disrupted not by accident, but by our own tendency to compromise it. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, gently warned us about the cost of sacrificing our peace. When we stretch ourselves thin to please others, when we chase validation at the expense of our values, or when we remain in situations that drain us, we slowly chip away at the serenity we need to feel truly alive. We do it out of fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of letting someone down. But the cost is steep, and it is paid with our energy, our joy, and our well-being. True happiness, as Seneca taught, isn't found in the applause of the crowd or in the constant chase for more. It's found right here in the present moment, in learning to be enough with what we already have, and in choosing stillness over struggle when the noise grows too loud. That doesn't mean we should accept negativity or surrender to the status quo. On the contrary, protecting your peace is a conscious act. It means making the courageous decision to walk away when something threatens your inner calm. And sometimes that means stepping back from more than just conflict. It means letting go of relationships, expectations, and environments that no longer serve your growth. Ask yourself, is this connection uplifting me or draining me? Are these expectations creating possibility or pressure? Is this environment nourishing my well-being or quietly eroding my confidence? If the answer leaves you uneasy, it might be time to step away. Not with anger, but with awareness. Not with drama, but with clarity. To protect your sanctuary, begin by setting healthy boundaries. Communicate your needs and limits clearly and unapologetically. Learn to say no, not out of resistance, but out of reverence for your peace. Practice mindfulness. Pause often. Observe your thoughts and emotions with gentle curiosity rather than judgment. Choose to detach from negativity and return your focus to the quiet truths that live within you. Build a self-care routine that anchors you. Whether it's meditation, walks in nature, creative hobbies, or simply moments of stillness. Fill your life with what nourishes you. and surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and remind you of your worth. This isn't selfishness, this is sacred. You are responsible for the atmosphere inside your soul. When you walk away from chaos, you make space for calm. When you step away from what wounds you, you make room for what heals you. So protect your inner peace with the same tenderness you'd offer a loved one. Walk gently through the world, but fiercely protect the calm that allows you to shine. Because when your inner sanctuary is strong, your light radiates far beyond yourself. And now, with that sanctuary in place, we arrive at the next layer of strength. Lesson number 12, mastering your inner world. Life at times feels like a vast and unpredictable ocean. The surface rises and crashes, pulled by forces we cannot control. But deep beneath the waves, there is a current, steady, silent, and strong. That current is your inner world. And it's time we learn to navigate from there. In the previous lesson, we learned that the serenity of our inner sanctuary must be protected. But even more profound than protecting peace is mastering the internal world from which that peace flows. That leads us to lesson number 12, master your inner world. Life will always have its waves, people will come and go, circumstances will rise and fall, and outcomes will not always align with our expectations. But beneath the surface, you possess something no storm can touch, a quiet, steady power that resides within. And this is where your true strength lies. Too often we exhaust ourselves trying to control the outer world. We strive to manage situations, fix people, manipulate outcomes. But no matter how hard we try, the external world will always remain unpredictable. This pursuit, while well-intentioned, often leaves us frustrated, disappointed, and disconnected from our deeper purpose. The Stoic path offers a different approach, one of inward focus. True power begins not with dominance over others, but with understanding ourselves. It starts with self-awareness, noticing your triggers, understanding your values, and recognizing how your thoughts shape your emotional landscape. What stories are you telling yourself? Are they helpful or harmful? With that awareness, you gain the ability to pause, reframe, and choose better narratives, ones rooted in truth, not fear. Managing your inner world means developing emotional intelligence. When anger rises, you don't suppress it, you meet it with mindfulness. When anxiety whispers, you don't let it spiral, you ground yourself in the present. You choose not to react blindly, but to respond with clarity and intention. And sometimes mastering your inner world means walking away, not as a surrender, but as a strategy. Walking away from what drains you, disrespects you, or leads you away from your principles is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It affirms your commitment to inner peace and personal evolution. In walking away, you reclaim your response. You draw clear boundaries. You stop letting the world dictate how you feel and start deciding for yourself what energy you allow in. This act empowers change. It creates space for healing and reflection. It invites growth by redirecting your energy back to where it belongs within. Mastery is not about controlling everything around you. It's about managing the only thing you ever truly have control over yourself. And this is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey, a practice of patience, compassion, and conscious choice. As you walk this path, you'll face challenges, but with each one, your inner strength will grow. You'll learn to face life with greater calm clarity and resilience. So let your inner world become your compass. Let your peace be your power. And as you choose how to respond moment by moment, you step into a life that's not just reactive, but intentional and free. This brings us to the final lesson, one that ties everything together. Lesson number 13, honor your true self. Imagine your life as a grand tapestry woven together from every moment, every decision, and every relationship. Some threads shimmer with joy, while others hold pain or struggle. But every thread, every choice contributes to the story of who you are. The question is, are you weaving a life that reflects your truth? In this final lesson, we explore the courage it takes to shape that tapestry with love, authenticity, and intention. Imagine your life as a vast, intricate tapestry, each thread woven from your experiences, your choices, your relationships. Some threads shine with joy, resilience, and growth. Others are heavy with pain, disillusionment, or sacrifice. But all of them tell your story. And with each moment that passes, you have the power to choose what kind of thread you weave next. This final lesson invites you to become intentional with your weaving, to no longer let your life be shaped by what drains you, but by what nourishes and uplifts you. Too often we tolerate relationships that erode our spirit, environments that sap our energy, or habits that keep us trapped in loops of unhappiness. We do this not because we lack strength, but because we've been taught that endurance equals virtue, that staying is loyalty, that self-sacrifice is love. But what if walking away is the deeper act of devotion to yourself? Leaving behind what no longer serves you is not selfish. It's brave. It's a declaration that your peace matters, your values matter, your life matters. Self-love in its truest form is not just about gentle words or fleeting comforts. It's about the hard decisions. It's about realigning your life with your truth, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's painful. Walking away from harmful patterns or people becomes not an act of escape, but an act of integrity. When you walk away from what dims your light, you open space for what reflects your brilliance. You create room for relationships that feel safe, supportive, and alive. You invite in opportunities that align with your soul. You begin to live, not survive. Choosing self-love means embracing every part of your journey, the moments of doubt, the steps backward, the long pauses, and still treating yourself with patience, compassion, and grace. It means recognizing your worth not as something to be earned, but as something that already exists untouched and constant. Yes, walking away is difficult. Yes, honoring your true self will sometimes mean standing alone. But in doing so, you stop abandoning yourself for the comfort of others. You start building a life that mirrors who you really are. This journey is not linear. It will ask you to revisit old wounds, to speak truths you've silenced, to let go of identities you've outgrown. But with every courageous decision, you return to yourself. And that truly is where the healing begins. So pause for a moment and ask, what kind of life am I weaving? Does it reflect who I am or who I was told to be? And if the answer calls for change, know this: you have permission to choose differently. You always have. As we close this chapter, remember, honoring your true self is the greatest act of love. The path may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Let your story be one of courage, self-respect, and radiant authenticity. Walk forward with grace, and never forget you are already enough.